Hey everyone, I'm Army Gaming, welcome back to my channel and welcome to Monster Analysis. Up for analysis today is Canine. Canine is the boss in Canine Clan and the monster of contraband. Chests, gold, cells, you name it, there's nothing he can't sell in the black market. Money isn't a game for L, he's shameless in doing whatever he needs to eliminate any rival gangs that lower the prices he sets. And so our good buddy L over here is the newest and latest light legendary monster, and we actually haven't had a light legendary monster since the release of Cloud, which was quite a while ago, so it's really nice to finally get a light legendary monster, which totals it up to 31 light legendary monsters. And furthermore, Canine is going to be a part of the Families book, so it's nice to get some more variety there, but unfortunately he's also part of the Evil Legions book, and currently that is the home to 72 legendary monsters, so there's quite a lot of competition there. And moving on to stats, Canine boasts a power of 3421, which in the light legendary category actually puts him in 14th place, so not necessarily the strongest monster. As for his life, it's 30,763, which puts him in 12th place tied with Shakti, so he's a little above average. But lastly and most importantly, his speed is 3498, which is pretty much the new go-to speed. And actually, Canine is the first light legendary monster to have this speed, and in terms of all the light legendary monsters, this is the 4th highest speed stat. The only monsters faster than him would be the Nemesis monster Lum the Magical Matriarch, Lalau, and Cassia. Now, of those three monsters I just named, Cassia and Lalau, they're not deny monsters. The Magical Matriarch, she can be a deny monster, however not that many people have her. You know, she was a Nemesis monster, so the only way to purchase her would be with actual cash. So Canine is now the newest, the latest, the fastest light legendary denier. And on top of all of that, he even has a very interesting trait, Tough. All status effects have a 35% less accuracy against his target. Why in the world does a monster have Tough? He's not a general, yet they gave him Tough. They didn't give him Hardened, they didn't give him something new, like some doggy trait or something, they gave him Tough. So this monster has a pretty good power, he's quite tanky, he has an amazing speed, and he has an incredible trait. So far, Canine does not disappoint, and just wait until we get into his skills. And then as for relics, he can hold the Trap Relic and the Amulet Relic. And with all that said, let's move on over and talk about skills. Starting off with his ultimate skill, Omerta. Deals massive light damage to all enemies, applies stun to all enemies. So here we have an ultimate attack that deals 70 light based damage to all of the enemy monsters, and it stuns. Now one thing I've noticed with newer monsters is that their mobilizing effects, if it's not a DLT, if it's just a negative effect, it appears to be 98% accuracy as opposed to 100% accuracy, which is what we're used to. So I don't know if this is going to be a change implemented to all monsters or just the newer monsters, but it is really intriguing. But that aside, when just talking about this monster's ultimate, you know, it's nothing too flashy, nothing too impressive. 70 light based damage to everyone. While this monster isn't going to be an attacker, he's going to be running 3 speed runes, so it's not going to be doing that much damage. But then again, you never know, it may be enough to just wipe out the remaining enemy monsters. And on top of that, it is a deny skill, so even though stun isn't anything new or flashy, hey, an AoE stun, I'm always down for that. And then I'm really quickly going to go over skills group 1. Why Afraid Now? This is a 0 cooldown stun skill, 50% chance to stun. But as of the time recording this video, every single 50% chance skill to do anything is actually 100%. Or I guess now 98%. Again, they're messing with all the skills and stuff. And so if you want a 0 cooldown stun skill, I suppose you could run this. However, if you're watching this video in the future, when 50% skills are actually 50%, then by no means should you even be thinking about running this skill. But that said, one skill you can run right now or in the future, regardless of when you watch this video, is an Offer You Can't Refuse. Deals moderate special damage to one enemy, activates all cooldowns on one enemy requires cooldown. 35 special base damage to a single enemy monster, 23 stamina cost, 2 turn cooldown, and it activates the cooldown on whatever monster you choose. That's a great skill, and honestly, skills group 1, an Offer You Can't Refuse, it's one of his better skills. And so with that said, on to skills group 2, and if you don't run that skill I just mentioned for skills group 1, you could run Sausages Are Best Served Cold. Deals moderate light damage to one enemy, applies stun to one enemy, applies sunburn to one enemy, requires cooldown. 40 light based damage to a single enemy monster, 29 stamina cost, a 1 turn cooldown, so you could easily use this more than once in a single battle if you needed to, and it stuns and it applies Sunburn. Now the cool thing about Sunburn is, not only does it reduce the enemy's HP by 10% for the next 3 turns, it also reduces the enemy's accuracy by 15%. So even if the enemy monster is immune to stun or something, maybe if the stun doesn't land, hey, that minus 15% accuracy, that might make it so the enemy monster misses their next attack against you. And so Sausages Are Best Served Cold, it's a great attack with a great name. Next up we have Friendship Is Everything, removes all negative status effects from one ally, applies guard down to one ally, and so this skill targets a single ally, costing you 29 stamina cost with absolutely no cooldown, so another skill you can use if you were to get hit with cooldowns activated, and it basically gives you guard down Hater. And guard down Haters essentially gives you triple damage against any monster that has guard down, and the guard down effect basically makes it so all of your attacks never miss. So it's actually a really great combo. If you have a monster that can apply guard down, which spoiler alert, Canine can actually do, well then whatever monster attacks next is going to be dealing triple damage. it kind of makes you think, like, do you even need strength runes anymore? When when Social Point is throwing all these buffs that give you triple damage, it's insane. But anyhow, I personally won't be recommending this skill. I do however love that it has no cooldown and it removes negative effects, but what I don't like that it's only for a single ally as opposed to your whole team. Now if it was a no cooldown team skill, that'd be way too powerful, so I understand why they don't do it that way. But anyhow, that's just my personal preference. I do like the skill, but I just can't recommend running it because it's a single ally. And anyhow, speaking about guard down, I Want You Closer deals moderate special damage to all enemies, applies guard down to all enemies, requires cooldown 30 damage, 36 stamina cost, 2 turn cooldown, it attacks all the enemy monsters, and it applies guard down. And guard down makes it so your attack always land, regardless if you have reduced accuracy, regardless if you're blinded, regardless if you're dazed. I'm not sure what happens if you have total blind. Ooh, that's an interesting one. If anyone knows in the comments below, please let me know, because that is a really interesting one. If the enemy monster has guard down and you have total blind, what is going to happen? And so anyhow, you can run this skill if you want to. You're ultimately going to have to decide between I Want You Closer, Sausages Are Best Served Cold, or an offer you can't refuse, because you're going to want to run all of skills group 3. And we start things off with Vendetta. Deals moderate light damage to all enemies, applies stun and sunburn to all enemies, requires cooldown. So this skill is incredible. 40 light based damage to all of the enemy monsters, 43 stamina cost, a 2 turn cooldown, it stuns and it applies sunburn. An AoE immobilizing and DOT effect. That is incredible. And it goes without saying that you absolutely have to run this skill. And next up we have I Have a Job for You. Removes all negative status effects from all allies, applies guard down hated to all allies, requires cooldown. So it's an upgraded version of the one from skills group 2. And I say it's upgraded because it removes all negative status effects from all of your allies as opposed to just one ally. It does however cost 34 stamina and it has a 2 turn cooldown. And in my opinion, this is another must-have skill. Anything that can remove negative effects from your teammates, you want that skill. Especially because there are so many things the enemy monsters can do to you, and especially because this monster has tough. So 35% of the time, he isn't going to be hit with a negative effect. So there might be scenarios where the enemy monster is faster than you. They have a mega freeze, they have a possession, they have something. And those negative effects land against your teammates, but not against Canine. And instead of doing something like Vendetta to try to stun everyone, you can just do this effect to get rid of that negative effect, to get rid of that possession so your teammates don't attack themselves, to get rid of that freeze or whatever. And so yeah, be sure to run I Have a Job for You. And last but not least, we have Unpaid Loan. And this skill is seriously where it's at. Deals very heavy special damage to one enemy, activates all cooldowns on all enemies, applies guard down to all enemies, requires cooldown. What the heck, this skill deals 55 special base damage to a single enemy monster. That means it has a 95% accuracy, as opposed to your typical 90% accuracy on AoEs. It costs 35 stamina, has a fortune cooldown, a well-deserved fortune cooldown, because you're attacking one enemy monster with 95% accuracy, but you're activating the cooldowns on everyone, not just a single monster, on everyone. So this monster has an AoE cooldowns activated, and an AoE stun, and the stun also applies sunburn. But going back to the cooldowns activated, it doesn't just do cooldowns activated, it also applies guard down, which means your next attacks aren't going to be missing. So after you do Unpaid Loan, you can do Vendetta, so you're going to guarantee that AoE stun lands, that AoE sunburn lands, and then your teammates, whatever attacks they do, they're going to be landing. How crazy is that? And so once again, skills wise, it's pretty darn easy for this monster. You run Unpaid Loan, you run Vendetta, you run I Have a Job for You, and as for the fourth and final skill, it's pretty much whatever skill you prefer. I Want You Closer, Sausages Are Best Served Cold, or an offer you can't refuse. You really can't go wrong with either of those three skills. I kind of feel like most people would go for Sausages Are Best Served Cold, and actually there's also the alternative of running Friendship Is Everything, just so you yourself have a zero cooldown skill that can remove a negative effect from a single ally, because you never know when that could actually be useful. And as I mentioned a little earlier, runes for this monster would be very simple. 3 speed runes give this monster the best speed runes you have. And I gotta say, I'm really impressed with all the new monsters being released. They're like on a whole different level. And I guess they kind of have to be able to compete with like the Nemesis monsters, which are on a whole different level themselves. Because when you compare all the new monsters, even like when you look at the epic monsters, they are insanely good compared to some of our original monsters. Like how do you have a monster that does cooldowns activated and guard down with a 95% accuracy? How do you have an AoE stun that also applies sunburn, which no monster is immune to sunburn? Like, it's insane. And then we have all of these hater effects, which essentially give you triple damage, and then you can still stack the 50% damage buff. You can still stack the double damage buff. You can still stack triple damage. It's ridiculous. And then with this monster specifically, he even has the tough trait. He has the incredible 3498 speed. Gosh, this monster is so impressive. And with that being said, that is going to conclude this analysis on Canine. And I want to hear from all of you guys. What do you think about this monster? Do you think this monster is the new best light legendary monster? Or do you think there are some original contenders that can fight him for that top spot? I don't know, you guys let me know. I'm really curious to hear all of your guys' thoughts. So please be sure to let me know in the comments below. And also be sure to join the new Discord. There's going to be a link in the description. We have monster discussions there. If you're having trouble picking new skills and runes for your monsters, we can help you out there. Not to mention if you're looking for a team, we can help you out there. There's a lot of great information, a lot of great people, so be sure to join the Discord. And with all of that said, I just really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really hope you guys will join me on Discord, and I'll see you guys next time.